So do judges make law? In this video I'm going to be speaking about judicial precedent. Stay tuned. Welcome to my channel, The Legal Journey, where I speak about lifestyle and law. I'm David, in case you didn't know that, and I have Keryl, who is from the island of Tobago, and he is going to be part of this video where I'm speaking about the sources of law. In this video I'm going to be speaking about judicial precedent, so let's get into my first point. So in understanding judicial precedent or case law, there's need for us to understand the hierarchy of the court. Which court has a greater influence on the other courts? So Keryl is from Trinidad and Tobago, and I want to allow him to share his insights regarding the courts in your country. So tell me about the courts in Trinidad and Tobago.
There's the Magistrate Court, the Court of Appeal, and the High Court.
Right. And you know of any other court that is above the Court of Appeal or above the High Court?
No.
Right. So one court that is above those two courts would be the Privy Council. The Privy Council is the highest court of appeal in your country, Trinidad and Tobago. So the hierarchy really looks like the Privy Council, the Court of Appeal, the High Court, and the Magistrates Court. So whatever happens or decisions the Privy Council make, it's then going to be binding on the other courts. Whatever decision the Court of Appeal makes, it's going to be binding on the High Court and the Magistrates Court. Understand? So that is what the hierarchy of the court order is really in Trinidad and Tobago. And that's important because it's going to help us understand the other point. Before I get into the other point, there are some Caribbean countries where the highest court of appeal is the Caribbean Court of Justice. And there are some arguments that say that the Caribbean Court of Justice really should replace the Privy Council in all of the Caribbean islands. Let me hear what you have to say in the comments. Do you think that the Caribbean Court of Justice should be the highest court of appeal? Just leave it down there. So Keryl, I want to speak about three important Latin terms when it comes to judicial precedent. One of them is stare decisis. Stare decisis basically means let the decision stand. Right? So let me tell you the rationale behind this whole judicial precedent, stare decisis principle. Imagine where you understand the law to be something one day, and then tomorrow the law changes, and then the day after the law changes. So it's going to create a lot of confusion in your life. So this is what stare decisis is. It seeks to achieve, to ensure that there's certainty in the law. Right? Another principle that I want us to look at would be, well, there are two other principles. One is ratio decidendi and obiter dictum. Now, all of the wordings and all of the principles that may be mentioned in a particular case that the judge decides, they would not be binding. Everything would not be binding on the lower courts. What you need to do to determine what would be binding is to look at what was the law that the court was dealing with, and what was the facts that the law was dealing with, and how does the law and the facts apply. And that becomes what we call the ratio decidendi. Anything else is called the obiter. Interesting thing, you guys, is that Keryl had the opportunity to read a particular case, and we're going to get into that now in the next point. Being a lawyer, I'm always encouraged when I hear non-lawyers discussing the law, and this is what Keryl did. Keryl read a particular case, and I want him to give us a summary of this case and see if we could apply ratio decidendi and obiter dictum to the whole principle. Let's see what you have to say about this case.
Alright, so there was this 23-year-old young man who was charged and arrested for having in his possession 2 grams of marijuana, right? And he was taken to the magistrate court, and the magistrate charged him, fined him $1,000, right? And he asked the magistrate to drop the charges.
We call it reprimand and discharge.
Right. And the magistrate refused. Right.
So what happened after that?
Then after that, the case was taken to the Court of Appeal.
Right.
Right. And at the Court of Appeal, there was some additional information that the judge now had before them, which affected the ruling. Sound like Judge Judy. But anyhow, some of that information involved that he was now pursuing a degree in law, right? He had 10 O-levels and 4 A-levels. He was now employed, and his employer spoke highly of him. He had great work ethic and he was excellent.
So with all of that, sorry, what did the court considered all of that, and tell me what the court said in coming to a decision.
So the court decided that it would be disadvantageous to him, given his age and his bright future and his potential and all that intelligence, and he's now positively contributing to society, for him to have attached to him a criminal record. So the judge decided to reprimand the charge.
That's correct too.
Yeah.
Reprimand and discharge.
Right.
And I'm sure in that case you saw some other cases that were referred to. And in that case, that is an example of how you show judicial precedent, where judges, they rely upon formal decision to guide their decision. You remember the name of the case? So let's see, you have your phone there with you.
Actually, yeah. So it says in paragraph 10, right? In the Jackman versus Monroe Magistral Appeal number 152 of 1997, the court stated that there are many persons who at some time in their past or in their youth might have violated the law and flaunted authority, but were given a chance and have gone on to make substantial and meaningful contributions to society. The court, on the facts in the Jackman case, thought appellant deserving of a chance and accordingly set aside the sentence and made an order under section 71(1)(a) of the summary court act.
And that is what is the reprimand and discharge. So he would not have any criminal records on his name. And that is really what the ratio is. And again, you see where they rely upon a pre-former case. So persons say that judges don't make laws, some persons say that they do. But you see how the case law or judicial precedent now becomes a source of law, because it influences the law in the future. So Keryl, this is the last point I'm going to be making, or the last video also regarding the sources of law. I'm sure you've seen some of the other videos.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't, make sure that you check out those at the end, as well as subscribe to my channel. You'd make sure that you learn some new area about the law also. The intention is to empower you through education about the law. So Keryl, thank you so much for being here, and I'm sure that we'll make a next video someday in future. You guys take care, and we will see you in my next video.